The night my life cracked open started with a text and a bad rerun. I was on the couch in the dark, a half-warm beer sweating on the table, some true crime show mumbling about a guy who drove a truck through a crowd in Vegas. I wasn't really watching. I was just letting sound keep me from hearing my own thoughts. My phone buzzed beside me. I glanced down, expecting a meme from my coworker Jenna or a reminder I'd snooze and forget. The preview from Madison lit the screen. Just married my coworker in Vegas. Your pathetic BTW. For a second, I assumed it was some drunk joke, part of a marketing bit she was workshopping. Maddie lived on hype and exclamation points. I opened the message. Selfie. Dim casino lights. Plastic flower arch. Maddie in a glitter dress, mascara thick, ring held up to the camera. The guy next to her smirked like a teenager who'd just stolen a car. Logan Price, her coworker. He wore a matching band. Underneath, she'd typed again, in case I'd missed the point. Just married my coworker in Vegas. Your pathetic BTW. Movies lie about this moment. Your heart doesn't explode. You don't see red. Everything just goes still, like someone unplugged the sound system in your head. On the TV, the host talked about people going to Vegas to have fun and finding tragedy instead. Cute. Another bubble slid up from her. Guess you never saw this coming, lol. That one hardened something in me. I typed one word. Cool. It was petty and small and nowhere near enough, but it felt like putting a pin in a grenade I'd been carrying for months. I hit send, then opened my banking app. You learn things in IT security. If you can't control the chaos, you control the access points. Joint checking, $8,000, 2 shared credit cards. Liam's savings. My personal account, opened months ago, sat quietly down the list. I froze both joint cards, moved enough from checking to my personal to cover 3 months of mortgage and bills, left the rest. I didn't need to burn us both to the ground. Then I walked the house, room to room, like a crime scene tech. Sagging couch, uneven dining table, sticky cabinet handle, Liam's closed door. He was at my parents' for the weekend. Thank God. Cartoons and pancakes instead of watching his mother burn our life down. In my office, I unlocked the bottom drawer and took out the thin blue folder labeled Maddie. Bank statements. Flagged hotel charges on work trips. Screenshot of a Phoenix spa receipt that hit our joint card at 11:42 p.m. Instagram photos of Maddie and Logan just a little too close. A declined joint loan application I hadn't filed, flagged by the bank as discrepancy in identifying information. Not blackmail, insurance. A log, the way I'd log any breach. I left the folder closed for now. First, locks. The 24-hour hardware store smelled like dust and metal. I bought new deadbolts, drove home, and swapped them out in the quiet hum of late night. Metal clinked softly in the bowl by the door. When I turned the new key and felt the deadbolt slide, it sounded like punctuation. One chapter ending, another starting. Bank alerts pinged my phone a few minutes later. Your card has been frozen. I imagined her in some Vegas diner, staring at her screen, anger cutting through the cheap champagne. For the first time in months, I smiled. Sleep came in thin scraps, neon, slot machines, Liam reaching for me from a moving carousel. I jolted awake at dawn to the doorbell being pounded like someone wanted to beat their way through the wall. While you're here, hit the hype button, don't forget to subscribe and support this channel with a like. And tell us below, have you ever faced something like this? The doorbell rang again. Then a fist hit the door. Ethan, open the damn door! I checked the peephole. Maddie stood on the porch in last night's glitter dress, makeup smeared, suitcase in one hand, phone in the other. Behind her, Logan paced, already in jeans and a fitted t-shirt, hair still styled like he lived in a cologne commercial. At the curb, a police cruiser. 2 officers, hands on their belts, practiced boredom on their faces. I opened the door halfway. Maddie lurched forward, then stopped, eyes catching on the new lock. "You changed the locks!" she shrieked. "What is wrong with you?" "You look rough," I said. "Vegas not as fun on the way out?" The female officer stepped up. "Morning, you Ethan Cole?" "That's me. We got a call from your wife about a domestic dispute. She says you locked her out of the residence." Matty jumped in. "He threw away my key, froze my cards, and he has our son." "Liam's with my parents," I said. "He's safe, and technically, the house is in my name." "That doesn't give you the right to throw me out," she snapped. "I'm your wife." "About that." I glanced at her ring finger. Vegas band, not the modest one we'd bought together. "I got an interesting text last night," I said. "Something about you marrying your coworker in Vegas." Color rose under her smeared foundation. "I was drunk," she said. "It was a joke. It doesn't mean anything." The male officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am, did you sign anything at that chapel?" Logan, genius that he is, muttered, "We filled out the paperwork. They wouldn't do the ceremony without the license, right?" "Shut up, Logan," she hissed. The cops didn't come to adjudicate my marriage. They came to keep the porch from becoming a scene. In the end, we made a deal. She could come in with the officers and grab essentials. Clothes, toiletries, no Logan. As she brushed past, she hissed, "You're going to regret this." "I already regret the last 7 years," I said. "The locks are an upgrade." She slammed drawers and yanked hangers while I stood in the living room with the male officer. Through the window, I saw Logan leaning on his car in my driveway like he'd paid the mortgage. "Rough night?" the cop asked quietly. "You could say that." "You really think this is all yours now?" she said. "You texted me from Vegas to tell me you married your coworker and called me pathetic," I said. "What did you think was going to happen?" "It was a mistake," she said. "We can fix it. We can annul it. We can go back to normal." "Normal's gone," I said. "You pulled the lever and watched it spin." "You can't just decide that." "Sure I can," I said. "And a judge will back me up when he sees the evidence." Her eyes sharpened. "What evidence?" "You'll see," I said. "Soon." We traded quiet threats about court and custody, while the officers pretended not to listen. I mentioned the postnup she'd signed in a rush last year, the one she'd skimmed because she was late for a spa weekend. Her eyes went wide. "What postnup?" I didn't answer. "This isn't over," she said, when the officers steered her back toward Logan's car. "You're right," I said. "It's not." When the cruiser and Logan's shiny sedan finally pulled away, the street went quiet. Mrs. Harrison's curtains twitched across the road. I went to my office, pulled out the blue folder, and opened it. After closing, Harbor Line turns into a ghost town. The music shuts off, rides slow to a stop, lights dim to a dull yellow. The park becomes bones and shadows. I texted Maddie that afternoon. "We need to talk about the house and finances. I'm willing to consider a fair split if we do it face to face. Meet me by the old carousel at 8 p.m. Come alone or bring Logan if you need him." She hesitated, then agreed. "If this is a stunt, I walk." "No stunts," I wrote, "just facts." At 8, she arrived with Logan at her side. Jeans, leather jacket, makeup laid on like armor. He wore his usual smirk, thinner now. "You said this was about the house," she said. "So talk." I pulled out a copy of the postnup and handed it over. "You signed this when we refinanced," I said. Page 3. Her eyes skimmed the clause. Her face paled. "This says if I cheat or leave, I waive my claim to the house," she said. "You can't enforce that." "My lawyer disagrees," I said, "especially with a Vegas text where you announce your new marriage." "It was a joke," she said. I showed her the printed screenshot anyway. Glitter dress, chapel arch, caption. Then I handed her a 1-page settlement. She signs over any remaining claim to the house. We split the remaining cash reasonably. Standard child support, shared custody schedule, no spousal support, no drawn-out war. "You sign this, you walk away with some money and time with Liam," I said. "You don't, we fight in court, and you lose the house anyway." "This is garbage," Logan snapped. "He's screwing you." "I'm being generous," I said. "I don't owe either of you that." Before she could answer, a radio crackled behind the carousel. Derek stepped out with Claudia from marketing, another manager, and 2 security guards. Maddie reeled. "What is this?" "An internal review," Claudia said calmly. "We've been looking at your expense reports and that Vegas trip." Logan laughed, brittle. "You're kidding." "No," she said. "Clients aren't thrilled that their reps vanished from a closing dinner to get drunk and married. Our board isn't thrilled that the photos are all over social media." Derek opened his own folder. "Effective immediately, you're both suspended from company travel and events," he said. "Your current roles are under review. We'll make final decisions soon." "You're ruining our careers over a few drinks," Logan snarled. "No," I said. "They're ruining your careers over a pattern. The drinks were just the garnish." "You did this," he said to me. "You're sick." "I filed a factual report," I said. "The rest is gravity." Security escorted them toward the gate. Maddie threw one last look over her shoulder. "You're enjoying this," she said. "Honestly?" I said. "Some parts, yeah." When they were gone, Claudia told me to take the next day off. "Spend it with your kid," she said. "Let us handle the fallout." Derek lingered. "You did well," he said. "You kept your cool." "I pulled my punches," I said. "On purpose." "Keep doing that," he said. I watched the dark park around us. Empty rides, silent carousel. My reflection in the tarnished mirrors. Just a tired guy who'd finally stopped pretending everything was fine. The revenge I'd planned had one last piece. Locks. Maddie and Logan tried one more time. First, they came together, demanding to see Liam. I shoved Logan off my porch when he puffed up and told me to make him leave. He scraped his hands. Maddie screamed. The neighbors watched through curtains. "Every communication about Liam goes through lawyers or a custody app," I told her. "You don't ambush my house again. And you don't bring him here." "This isn't you," she said, voice shaking. "You're not this cold." "I was always this careful," I said. "You just didn't notice." 2 nights later, she came alone. Jeans, old band t-shirt, no makeup. She looked like the girl from our early years, and nothing like her at all. "Can we talk?" she asked. "We've been talking," I said. "It hasn't helped." "Not like this," she said. "Not with cops and HR and lawyers. Ethan, I messed up. I know I did. I got swept up in the travel and the clients and Logan. I felt seen for the first time in years." "You could have told me you felt invisible," I said. "You were always at work," she shot back. "Always on the computer, always talking about security issues." "To pay for this house," I said. "To pay off your debt. To give you the life you were bored enough to blow up." She wrapped her arms around herself. "You got what you wanted," she said. "Your house, your file, your moral high ground. Can we stop now? Before we destroy each other? For Liam's sake?" There it was again. Liam as shield and sword. "You think this is about hurting you?" I said. "It isn't. It's about making sure he doesn't grow up thinking this is normal." She looked past me into the hallway, eyes shining. "I don't want us to become strangers," she said. "We already are," I said. She flinched. "What do you want specifically?" I asked. "Because stop is not a plan." She hesitated. "I want you to stop going after my job," she said. "Stop trying to take everything. I get it. I hurt you. Let that be enough." "It's not your job I went after," I said. "It's the lies. The mess landed on your job all on its own." We stared at each other in the doorway. 7 years of shared life balanced on the threshold. Finally, I took a spare key from my pocket and held it up. "You want closure?" I said. "Here it is." Suspicion flickered in her eyes. "You're giving me a key?" "For tonight," I said. "You're going to use it to come in and take every single thing that belongs to you. Clothes, shoes, photos, that hideous lamp, everything. When you walk out, I change the locks again in the morning. No more I left my sweater. No more popping up on the porch. Clean cut." She stared like I'd suggested we burn the place down. Why would you do that? She whispered. Because I'm tired, I said. Because I'm done leaving doors half open for someone who's already walked out. You can have your stuff. You don't get to keep haunting the place. She took the key. Her fingers brushed mine. Old reflexes twitched and died. She moved through the house like a ghost on a tour. Bedroom, closet, bathroom, filling bags, emptying drawers, taking her life down one hanger at a time. She paused in Liam's doorway and froze. She didn't cross the threshold, just stared at his posters and small bed until tears slipped down her cheeks. Then she wiped them away and kept moving. An hour later, the living room was full of luggage and empty spaces where her things had been. The beach print was gone. The ugly lamp. Half the bathroom cabinet. That's it, she said. That's all of it. You sure? I asked. This is the one time I'm not dumping things on the lawn. I'm not coming back for scraps, she said. Good, I said. Scraps are for people who didn't choose the explosion. At the door, she turned. You're really changing the locks again? She asked. Yeah, I said. First thing. And then what? Then we exchange schedules and emails, I said. You see Liam when the court says you do. We talk about school and holidays like co-workers in a hostile department. That's it. Her lips trembled. I loved you, she said quietly. In my way. In your way, I repeated. That's the problem. She swallowed. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Madison. I almost never used her full name. It landed between us like a verdict. She walked down the path with her suitcase rattling behind her, smaller with every step. At the sidewalk, she half turned, hand lifting in something like a wave. I didn't lift mine. She disappeared around the corner. I closed the door. The deadbolt slid home. I pulled out the key she'd used and turned it in my palm. At some point while she'd been packing, I'd quietly swapped it for a blank from my key ring. She walked away holding a useless piece of metal. Petty? Absolutely. Also final. My phone buzzed on the counter. A text from my lawyer lit the screen. They signed the settlement. She waived her claim to the house. Custody schedule approved. It's done. Outside, a car trunk slammed. An engine started. Her life drove away. Inside, the house hummed quietly. Fridge, clock, distant traffic. No glitter, no perfume. Just the weight of what I'd done and what she'd done before me. I put my hand flat on the door, feeling the solid wood under my palm. On the other side, the world she'd chosen. On this side, the world I'd rebuild for myself and my son. Game over, I said softly. I turned away from the door and walked into the empty house as the lock settled into place behind me.